Okay, basically we're continuing where we did this last time. We're going to do a little review of 6-4, section 6.4, but we're continuing factoring trinomials. Today we're going to introduce if A is not 1. Be able to factor, why are we doing this? So we can factor more trinomials and help in solving equations later on by factoring. We have some notes, we have classwork, we have some homework. We are not having a quiz next time. So, review. Now, a big thing today, diamond and box. Derek, move over one seat, please. Shh. Now, as a review, our steps. The first step is always to see if we can factor out some stuff right in the beginning. In this problem here, can I factor out anything? I can take out a 2. So this becomes 2 times x squared plus 12x plus 20. Now the 2, remember, don't forget to put the 2 in the final answer. It's going to be 2 times whatever 2 binomials we're going to get at the end. But we're only really concerned about what's in the parentheses for our diamond and box. For a diamond and box. So step 1, we always check for common factors. Sometimes we have a step 1, sometimes we don't. Alex? So we're here. 2 times x squared plus 12x plus 20. Now step 2, I'm going to fill in the top and the bottom parts of my diamond. Remember, I take the a value. Now, in the problems we've been doing so far, what is the a value in front of the x squared, Ben? What is the number we don't write down in front of that x squared? 1. So we have a 1 times 20. 1 times 20, we put that at the top. We take the middle term with the x, we put it on the bottom. So we need two numbers that multiply together to give me 20, but shh, I just need you to watch and write it down. This is review. Shh. 12. They have to add up, so multiply to be 20, add to be 12. This is step 2. You fill in the top and the bottom spaces on our diamond. We aren't there yet. So here we are, we have 20 and 12. Now we want to factor. We take 20, we get the factors. We have 1 and 20, and since it's a positive, we don't have to worry about any of the negative values. Since we have a plus and a plus, we know everything's going to be a positive. We don't have to worry about any negative factors. So I have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. And so these are the factors that multiply to get rid of 20. We want the ones that are going to give me 12, and it's 2 and 10. So I put the 2 and the 10 just like that. This. Pardon? That's why I didn't use it. But 4 and 5 are factors of 20. You write down all the factors of 20 to see which ones add together. We chose 2 and 2 and 10 because they add up to be 10. Yes, 1 and 20 don't add up to be 10 either, or they add up to be 12. So we come here. So I'm going to put in the diagonal boxes, I have my x squared, and I have 20. Those two go from the other one. 2x, 10x, just like that. Now we're working the box backwards. We are going to factor out a piece. We're always going to factor out a piece of that. Okay? So on that. So we go to the next step. So step 4 would be to put our thing here. Still part of step 4. So we're going to factor out what is the greatest common factor I can factor out right here. Of 10 and 20. What's the greatest common factor I can factor out? Not 10x, a 10. There's no x on this one. Of x squared and 2x, what's the greatest common factor they have? And I can take out an x out of both. I can take out an x here and an x here. What's the greatest common factor between x squared and 10x? 1. A 1 what? 1x. We can take out an x. And here, between 2x and 20, the greatest common factor I can take out is a 2. So I get x plus 10 times x plus 2 in this case. Now, the check, and it becomes especially important when we start getting negative numbers, is we can FOIL it back out again. I get x squared plus 2x plus 10x plus 20, which gives me x squared plus 12x plus 20. But one thing, did I forget something on this? The 2. 2 times all of it. Don't forget any number you might have factored out. So the answer here, the final answer is really 2, x plus 2, x plus 10. Like that is the final answer. Shh. Don't forget the 2 in front. Questions?
So the answer is 2x plus 10. Wait.
2 times the binomial x plus 2 times the binomial x plus 10. But don't forget that whatever I factored out in the beginning does not go away. It's still there. Now, I want to give you a little guide, and you might want to find a space at the bottom of one of these. This is going to be based on how the quadratic is presented to you. We'll get to that. Hang on. In other words, you can counter these in a couple ways. X plus, ax squared plus bx plus c. If they're all positive, then when you write the binomial, it's going to be like that. Something plus something times something plus something. In other words, both binomials are going to have it be plus. If you have this, both are going to be minus. Both are minus, so both terms are going to be negative. Because a negative times a negative is a positive, but you get the negative middle term. Okay, so if you see this, an x squared minus an x plus a number, your answer is going to be, there's going to be a subtraction in both binomials. If you have this, this is something you need to add to your notes. Whenever you see a minus, basically minus this number at the end, Lewis, put the food away, please. Whatever you're eating, stop it. Shh. If you have a minus sign at the end, now whether there's a positive in the middle or a minus in the middle, your answer, one binomial is going to be a plus and one binomial is going to be a minus. With these answers, it's very important that you FOIL it because you have a choice, either when you're dividing out a negative or a positive, and you have to make sure you get the right one out there. So if you actually say it was supposed to be a plus in the middle and you end up with a minus, it means you have to change the signs. In other words, you have to swap them. Whatever was plus is minus, whatever's minus is plus on that. And we'll see a couple of those when we get to the next section especially. But this is a guide so you know what the answers have to be. You know that both things are going to be negative. One's positive, one's negative when you do the answers. All right, so it's very important. This gives you a guide. You should have this somewhere on those notes at the bottom and in one of the corners or something. So, more practice. So like this one, notice it has a negative in the middle, has a positive at the end. I know at the end, my two binomials should look like that. Because I know if it has a positive at the end and a minus in the middle, both binomials will be subtraction. So I look at this and I say 1 times 16 is positive 16. Take the middle term, negative 10. So I want two numbers that add up to be 16, or multiply to be positive 16, and add up to be negative 10, which means both values, are we going to get two positive numbers that are going to do that? Could I get one negative and one positive and do that? No, they're both going to be negative. So I can look negative 1, negative 16, negative 2, negative 8, negative 4, negative 4. These would be the factors of that. Well, negative 2, negative 4 are not factors of 16. Negative 8. Yeah, it's going to be this middle one, negative 2, negative 8. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Negative 2 plus negative 8 is negative 10. So we write down here, we have our z squared, 16. Then I have negative 8z, negative 2z. Now, does it matter which one? Could I have made it negative 2 and negative 8? Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. So now I can factor. I know that both have to be negative at the end, so what can I factor out here? I can factor out a what? 75. Well, I have a negative 8. I have a positive 16. I can factor out a... Well, I could do 8, but I need to know it needs to be a negative. I'm going to pull out a negative 8. Well, I know it has to be negative at the end. So on this side, I'm going to factor out a negative 2, because this one times this one has to be able to equal that one. So if I factor out a negative 8 here, I have to take out a negative 8, a negative 2 on this side. If I had factored out a positive 8 and a positive here, and when I did my FOIL back again, I would get positive 10 in the middle. And we know that's not right. So they have to both be negative. Here, I can factor out a z. And up here, I can factor out a z. I know they're positive because it's a positive number. So I get z minus 2 and z minus 8 as my answer. Questions? Yes, sir. Pardon? The Cassie? Are you talking about this and the Cassie? This. What are you asking? Is it going to be on what? Yes, it will be. But it doesn't help you practice. So you guys need to do this one. Do this problem. So let's look at this one. Now, can I factor out anything? The only greatest common factor here is a 1. So 1, I can't do anything. So I take 1 times 12 is 12. Negative 7. So since I have a positive and a negative, I have a positive, so both are going to be negative. So I look at this, and the two that add up to be negative 7 are negative 3, negative 4. So I get t squared and 12, negative 3t, negative 4t. And since I know my pattern is this, that both binomials have to be a negative. There, that was the pattern I gave you. Both have to be a negative. Because I have a negative in the middle and a positive at the end. Both binomials have to be a subtraction. Here, I'm going to get out, I can factor out negative 4 as my greatest common factor. Here, my greatest common factor is a t, and a negative 3. So I get t minus 3, t minus 4, like that. Questions? Derek, you need to stay in the room the rest of the period. Derek, did you hear what I said? Stay in the room. It took an awful long time to blow your nose out there. Now, shh, that's section 3-4. Andrew, spit out the gum, please. But you're the only one blowing bubbles. Spit it out. Shh. Doesn't take comments. All right. What happens if A is not 1? What do we do when A is not 1? Everything we've done so far, A is equal to 1. So if I have something like this, I am going to factor 3x squared. Well, we still use the same rule. It's the A value times the C value. Up to this point, we've been going 1 times the bottom. Alex, Angel. So now we just go 3 times 2, which is 6. Still do the same thing. Put the middle value down at the bottom. We need 2 values that add up to be multiplied to be 6. To be 5, since everything's positive, they're both going to be positive. I need them to multiply to 6, add to 5. Andrew, knock it off. They're both going to be positive, so we don't have to worry about the negative solutions. So our solutions are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. We're going to choose 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. So I come back here. I have 3x squared and 2, 2x, 3x, like that. Now we're going to have things that are more than just those common factors. Now here, the greatest common factor is a positive 2. Here, the greatest common factor is 3x. We can take a 3 out, and we can take an x out.
How did you get 6 and 5 from 2 and 4?
3 times 2 is 6. The middle term is 5.
Why do you do 3 times 2?
Well, 1 and 6 and 2 and 3 are the factors of 6. Which one? Which? No, but which 2 add up to be 5? Shh. How did I get 6? I multiply the first value times the last value. 3 times 2. So we can take out our 2. We can take out a 3x. Here, the only common is an x. Here, our only common is a 1. The only greatest common factor of 3 and 2 is a 1. So I get x plus 1 and 3x plus 2. Now, since it's positive, I don't have to worry about foiling. I don't have to worry about doing the FOIL. You two, Mr. Calderon. So far. All right. You guys try this one. You two you all try this one, please. Use the rules we did last time and try this one. No, just do it. Don't keep. So we look at this. First, we multiply 2 times negative 12. It's negative 24. We put the middle term 5 down the bottom. Now to guide our thinking, since we have a positive middle, but more importantly we have a negative here at the end, anytime we have a negative on that last coefficient, the answer is going to come out to be 1's going to be plus, 1's going to be negative, 1's going to be minus. So this also means that in our answers, we need 1 positive and 1 negative. Spit it out, please. The gum in your mouth that I keep seeing. So here I have, to get a negative 24, I need 1 positive and 1 negative. So I look at the different values. That means it could be 1, negative 24. Negative 1, positive 24. 2, negative 12. Negative 2, negative 24. Three, negative 8, negative 3, 8, 4, and negative 6, and negative 4, and positive 6. So, which one is it going to be? I need to add them up to be positive 5. It's going to be this one, negative 3, positive 8. Negative 3 times positive 8 is negative 24. Negative 3 plus a positive 8 is a positive 5. Shh. So, I put in my values 2x squared, negative 12. Shh. Negative 12. Now the other three, negative 3x, positive 8x. Now, we need to think, one has to be negative, one has to be positive. I would choose the one that's already negative to be the negative one. But on that, and then we check. If we come out the wrong one, after we FOIL, we check that. So, here, what is the greatest common factor of 8 and negative 12? What's the greatest? It's a 4. So we're going to take a 4 out on this one. Of 2x and 3x is in x. All I'm going to get is out in x. 2x squared and 8x. What's the greatest common factor? 2x squared and 8x. The greatest common factor is going to be a 2x. It's a 2x. Negative 3 and negative 12 is a negative 3. Remember, to get negative 12, one has to be a negative, one has to be a positive. It could have been negative 4, negative positive 3. We don't know. Usually, I would stick to going negative 3, then we have to look at the end. So right now, so I have 2x minus 3 and x plus 4. And we're going to FOIL. We're going to see, does this work out? Did I get the signs right? So I FOIL it out. So I get 2x squared and minus 3x plus 8x minus 12. That's going to be a positive 5x. Did I get the right way? Yes, I did. So this was the answer. This was the answer. If this had come out to be a negative 5x, I would know, oh, I need to switch the signs. I would have put the plus over here and the minus here. In other words, if you don't get the right middle term, you just swap the signs. Swap the signs. All right, questions? So, we're changing this a little bit. So we see what time it is. No, I don't need to. You guys should be able to get through most of that before we begin. So this is the Casey. We have some 6-4, some 6-5 problems. all 6 5 problems for your homework tonight. And I'll pass out the Casey sheet here in a moment.